episode of Done and Dunner, the podcast. I'm Tom with...
I'm Will.
Yes, and William is here this week. My brother William is filling in for Carolyn. It's been about 2 weeks since we've done an episode, and we were back from vacation and, just back into reality, and she's closing all this week, so it's really been hard to get together to do an episode. We thought we'd do one while we were in Litchfield, South Carolina. We were on a nice family vacation at the beach and everything, so we really had a great time. And I'm sure we'll talk about that on the next episode when Carolyn's actually back and everything. But, William, it's great to have you. What's been going on, man?
Nothing. I've just been working and watching movies.
Okay. What movies have you recently seen?
I saw Incredibles a couple days ago. Then before that, I saw Solo, and then Avengers and Deadpool.
Okay. So how was Incredibles?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. No complaints.
So was it better than the first one, or no? I haven't seen it yet.
I can't say if it was better than the first one or not. I haven't seen the first one in probably like 5 years, but I enjoyed it. Maybe not as much as the first one, but I was also a lot younger when the first one came out, so this one might not stick with me as much just because I'm a little bit older.
The way they put out these Pixar movies and their sequels, it just, a decade later, we're all a little bit older and not as young as we used to be, William.
Well, except unless you're the Cars movies and they're just pumping those things out.
Oh yeah, I mean, all they do is recycle the same fucking thing. It just, it's all a marketing thing. At least Incredibles, it was a good story. Animation was tight also.
Yep.
I got it.
You could say the same things about the new one. The animation was fantastic, and I thought the story was good. It picks up right where the first one left off with the Underminer.
Did they leave it open for a sequel?
I'm sure there's room for a sequel, but this one felt like it had not a definitive ending, but if this is the last one they do, then it's not like it ends on a cliffhanger.
Okay. Well, cool. I'm sure we'll see it. I know Carolyn really wants to see it, and I do too. We might actually do that. Have you done that? Are you doing that Movie Pass thing?
No, I don't. What's the Movie Pass?
So there's this app where it's like $10 a month, and there's kind of some limitations on it, and you can only see the movie once, but it's $10 a month, and you can go see the movies in the movie theater. So you could go see Incredibles. I don't think you can see it on the peak times, so you couldn't go opening night.
Oh, we didn't go opening night. What day did we go? I think we went Monday night or Tuesday night.
But I think, and a lot of people are doing the subscription pass thing, because I saw somewhere, and I'm not prepared for that, but, where, everyone's trying to do these season passes and things like that. And so $10 a month, you can go to, every week a new movie comes out during the summer. So initially, $15, let's just say minimum, right, for one ticket. So 2 people go, that's $30. You go 4 times, that's $120. You're saving. So if you go each one of you, so if you and Brittany went, you both need to have the pass. So that's $20. So that's $80. You're saving $50 just with that pass, and you can cancel anytime.
That's not bad.
I should actually be a sponsor for this. I think I sold that very well.
I thought you were a sponsor for this. I thought that's where you were going.
This episode of Dun and Dunner, the podcast, is brought to you by Movie Pass. Go get it.
Yeah.
But, that's something we thought about doing, too, as much as we go to the movies. So, but, so realistically, yeah, it's for a month, though, so you're saving, actually, my math was terribly wrong, so you're saving over $100 doing the Movie Pass.
Yes.
So
I wasn't questioning your math before. You're throwing so many numbers at me. I didn't know what was going on.
You got to think quick, man. Got to think quick. But, it's a good deal. My friends do it, and they enjoy it, so... Anywho,
that's cool.
So I'll eventually see Incredibles and Deadpool and Solo.
You haven't seen Solo yet?
I have not. I've been away. So
there's a reason they canceled the Obi-Wan movie, Tommy.
Oh yeah, and that's actually, let's go ahead and start getting some of the nitty gritty. So last couple of days that's been reported, due to the poor box office performance of Solo, a Star Wars story. Reports came out the other day that they were canceling all the spin-off movies that are currently in production. So that would be the unannounced so far Obi-Wan Kenobi movie and the Boba Fett movie, which they announced that James Mangold, who directed Logan, the Wolverine, Walk the Line, who was directing that movie. So a couple days ago, they were saying that they were putting all the spin-off movies on hold, with the exception of Rian Johnson's new trilogy that's outside of the Skywalker story, and then also the guys who are doing Game of Thrones, their movie series as well. So I just read a report today that they said that they're still on, but they are all focusing right now. The majority of it is on Episode 9. What do you think about this, William?
Well, like, I'm happy that, because instead of focusing on like 5 or 6 different things, I guess theoretically they're all trying to make Episode 9 the best movie it can be, but really it's because they realize that no one went to see Solo, so they're just going to lose like $500 million on the other spin-off movies if they release them. So it's not really for artistic reasons, it's for monetary reasons that they're putting it on hold.
And, I get Disney spent all this money on the Star Wars series, but why can't, it's almost, by the time it's done, it's going to make $400 million Solo. And then, that's without like digital and DVD and then, whatever they get for Netflix.
But with Solo, the interesting thing is how much they said the production budget was like $200 million. But is that with or without the reshoots? Because there's rumors that they reshot like 80% of the movie, or maybe a little bit. But if they reshot 80% of the movie on a $200 million budget, like, they'd have to make like $700 million just to break even.
Yeah, and it's astounding that they are so upset about that. I mean, it's some movies would be happy to make that much money, and obviously it's all about the return on investment. But you also have all the toys that are off the movie as well, and
the tie-in books. I was gonna say video game, but they only have like one video game out, Battlefront.
Yeah, I remember when they used to put out a video game for every fucking movie in the world.
Oh my god. I know they have like a Han Solo DLC for it, but I haven't played it. I haven't played the new Battlefront at all, so.
You're not missing much.
Yeah.
I think you can have mine when I see you next.
Okay. I plan on trying to come up there right around the end of the summer again, like we did last year for Dad's birthday. Hopefully there won't be a hurricane this time.
Yeah, hopefully. There's already been 2 hurricanes out in the Pacific, so who knows what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, we already had a tropical storm right when Solo came out, rolled up through the Tampa Bay area.
So what do you think it was that, and we talked about this before in private and everything, but what do you think is the reason why this movie underperformed? Is it just because, one, it was too soon after The Last Jedi and people were still fatigued and hungover pretty much from The Last Jedi? Or is it because of all the competition in the summer box office?
It's probably a combination of that, and I would also say because no one, when they announced that they were doing the spin-off movies, right when they, soon after Disney purchased it, Lucasfilms, everyone's like, oh, maybe they'll do an Obi-Wan movie or a Boba Fett movie. A lot of people are like, maybe they'll do a Yoda movie, which that'd be all cool. Some people are like, maybe they'll do a Knights of the Old Republic movie. But like no one, I don't remember anybody going, oh, I hope they do a young Han Solo movie. Just like that was like, I never would have thought, like, why would we do a young Han Solo movie? We saw, he's not even like the main character. He's like a good supporting character. So it didn't make sense to me. And I'm sure there's other people out there the same, that like I didn't really want this movie. Now it's here. And then on top of The Last Jedi, there's a lot of people that didn't like The Last Jedi and don't like, or I guess they're frustrated with Star Wars or Disney and Star Wars. So I'm sure it's like a combination of all four things, but I don't think coming out right after Avengers and Deadpool helped at all.
No, I mean, for a fact, I still haven't even seen the damn movie. But you liked the movie. You enjoyed it, you told me.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised. My expectations were extremely low going in, but I walked out happy. I enjoyed it more than probably the last two, Rogue One and The Last Jedi. I don't think it's a perfect movie by any stretch, but I don't think it was a bad movie. A lot of the things that people didn't like about it, how he got his name, and some of the other stuff, like, it didn't bother me as much, because I don't know, it just didn't bother me.
Yeah, and I know there's a little bit of Easter eggs in there. I haven't seen it yet, as we just discussed. Our friend Vanessa, who was on the episode that we did of The Last Jedi, please see the archives for that.
Yes.
She said that she was surprised that you liked it. So she did enjoy the movie too. Probably she still liked Rogue One better. But I also think that they felt they had a good formula. But I really feel like they should have stuck to December and left it then. There's no reason why we should have had it this early anyway.
When did Last Jedi came out in December, right? And Han Solo
on your birthday.
Yeah, so January, February, March, April.
Actually, it came out on my birthday this year.
Yeah, so it came out, I think, a little bit less than 5 months after The Last Jedi.
Yeah, it's like as soon as The Last Jedi started fading away, then you started getting like, hell, the previews for the Solo movie came out during the Super Bowl when The Last Jedi was still in the top of the box office, so you never got a break.
Yeah, I don't even, The Last Jedi would have been out on Blu-ray before Han Solo came out.
Yeah, so it came out probably in March, late March on Blu-ray.
Remember when we used to have to wait like almost 6 months for a movie to come out on DVD after it was in theaters? Now it's like 2 months. Like they're just churning them out right away.
And Netflix has some arrangement with TV productions where as soon as the season's over, it's on Netflix.
Oh, I'm sure.
So you don't even have to wait
you gotta
anymore.
Make that money. Yeah.
So, and if you really want to watch an episode, and if it's not on Hulu, you can always purchase it now too. So that's stuff we didn't have either. Well, that's something, a topic I was going to touch on with when we had Carolyn back, but is the movies, it's original for these movies to have these different chapters and everything. Like every Marvel movie comes from like the origins of some of the comic book stories, whereas Star Wars is all original ideas for the most part. Is it an oversaturation right now of big superhero movies and sci-fi movies?
I don't know. I can't say it's oversaturation because Deadpool did really well financially, right? It did. I don't remember what the numbers were, but that did well, and Avengers did well. I think they benefited from the fact that 6 months previous there wasn't an Avengers movie or a Deadpool movie that came out.
Yeah, and Thor was pretty much out of everyone's minds by the time Avengers came out. It was like an 8-month break.
Yeah, like Thor and Spider-Man, they were all in the summer, and then Avengers, right? It might have been almost a year.
Yeah, I think it went Guardians, Spider-Man, Thor.
Yeah.
Black Panther.
And I guess Black Panther would have been the one, right?
But that grossed $1.4 billion.
Yeah, and because that one was something almost entirely different.
Yeah, and really didn't have. it didn't really have too many ties to the entire universe either.
No.
So
and it felt unique, and where I think the issue was with the Han Solo movie. I mean, the character had been dead for 2 other movies by that point, right? Rogue One and The Last Jedi, but now you're doing a younger version of there's no interest in it. It's like they try in the preview, they try to make it look like, oh, is Chewie going to get hit by that rock? It's like, No. Like,
we know what happens.
Like, there's no danger unless it's like the supporting characters. And some supporting characters were more interesting than others. Some weren't in it really at all. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I enjoyed the Han Solo movie. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, people should have went to see it. But I mean, I can understand people are irritated or just bored by it.
So, William, how would you describe the majority of Star Wars fans, Star Trek, comic book fans? How would you describe them? Passionate.
I think
obsessive.
They're very. I don't know. I guess it just depends. They can be aggressive. Yeah, aggressive. Passionate is a good word. Yeah.
Assholes.
They can be assholes too. I don't know as much with the Star Trek fans, because it's so less, I guess, popular now. But I mean, hating on the Star Wars movies isn't something new. I mean, the prequels, people hated them when they came out. Facebook wasn't out yet. I think it was just MySpace and other like internet blogs. YouTube
mainly blogging
may have been around.
Maybe, yeah. And the reason I say this, because recently Star Wars actress Kelly Marie Tran, who was she played Rose Tico in The Last Jedi. So she is no longer on social media. She like Daisy Ridley, several months of racist and sexist abuse on social media from Star Wars fans, and finally, I guess she just had enough and she left.
Yeah. Well, that's good because you either you stay on there, and you end up like Jake Lloyd, who is schizophrenic. Oh, you laugh at that, Tommy. That's a joke to you. He's got mental disabilities now because of Star Wars. That's funny.
I just thought it would be all I could think of when you said his name was, and that's what I call podcasting or pod racing.
Pod racing.
Podcasting. That should be our thing. And that's podcasting.
Now this is podcasting.
Yes.
That's your title. Now this is podcasting.
So, I mean, I thought about it, but it's crazy.
High-speed chase.
I mean, because he was bullied in high school, in middle school and high school, right after the prequels. Yeah. He's never done any acting ever since then, and now he has mental health issues, and I know all about mental health issues. I recently went through a whole bout of that, and I'm still, doing what I need to do to stay mentally healthy.
Yeah.
But when is, the cruel side of people, I mean, this is how they come out. Like, everyone who has a Twitter doesn't mean you have to be an asshole to someone just because you don't like their character.
And the thing that really frustrates me about this is it's not like the actress ruined the character. It's not like she has a bad performance. It's the character that's frustrating. It's not the actress. Like, she has nothing to do with it. Unless she's going in there and she's like, I'm rewriting all your stuff, but which isn't the case. Like, if you're going to be frustrated at the way a character is portrayed, like, be upset with the writer. She did nothing wrong. It's not like she purposely, like, I'm sabotaging this movie. I'm going to write my own plot in there, my own side story. I'm going to ruin it. It's like, no, that's like, why even go after her? If you don't like something, like, why would you go after the actress who has no say in what happens?
But, so she was the first Vietnamese American actress, first woman of color to play a lead role in the Star Wars series. So, I mean, I don't know if it's because she wasn't, like, she was black or Hispanic or, maybe that. But it really, predominantly the Star Wars fans who have anger issues are, the white ones, So, I mean,
I don't know.
I just can't, like, Star Wars is about, Donald Glover did the skit on SNL about all the black Star Wars characters, and it was like 4 of them, right?
Yep.
So, but it's more about, like, all the different species trying to, live in harmony, I guess, or try to get there.
Yeah.
But, William Shatner wrote a book once about Star Trek fans, and it was called Get a Life, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars fans, if you have nothing good to say and you're just going to be bitter and hateful, yeah, I didn't like. It took me a while to get over The Last Jedi, but that was because of content in the story. It wasn't about the performance. I think all the performances in The Last Jedi were great, and I just felt like I think Rose was a great addition. I didn't think their whole side plot needed to be there.
No, that was the issue.
And I really felt when she took out Finn's shuttle thing, granted in the moment of the movie and everything, until Luke comes out, I'm like, let him do it. Let him sacrifice himself to save everyone, which essentially Luke did at the end. But what else is he going to do? It's all about Kylo Ren and Rey now.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing when Han Solo said, just kill me off in the beginning of the Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back, So,
yeah.
So she's off Instagram and so is Daisy Ridley. But so should social media platforms be monitoring this stuff more? I mean, this is also the same forms of cyberbullying. When I was a middle school teacher, we would have to, if we heard about cyberbullying or were notified, we would have to bring it to the parents' attention.
Yeah.
So should Twitter, Instagram, Facebook have more of a division where they see these derogatory comments?
I mean, they could, but that would be, realistically, that'd be way too much work, right? Because then you're posting stuff, then it's got to get reviewed before it's posted immediately. So
but they could do an algorithm where, key racial, sexist remarks. If you type something like that in, it should get red flagged and say, "Oh, your comment needs to be reviewed before it can be posted."
Yeah, but then there's ways around that. I'm sure you could just switch up 2 letters in a word, and then it could just, whatever the robot's reading wouldn't recognize it as a swear word or something.
Yeah, I just think.
It'd be nice, but I don't think that's a viable option. Realistically, people should just be nicer.
Yeah, I always say it's easy to be hateful.
Thing.
It's easy to be negative and hateful, and it's harder to be positive and loving. But John Boyega, Mark Hamill, and Ryan Johnson, jumped to our aids and pretty much told Star Wars fans that, the majority of them, thank you, but those of you who are causing these issues, back the fuck off.
Yeah, it's ridiculous and it's embarrassing.
Yeah, and I just think those people who, they should go through and I don't know, block these. You can create another name, whatever. It's just frustrating, and it's just cyberbullying. It's just everyone's finding a different way to just be hateful, and it sucks. This evolution, the evolution of technology and the evolution of just how we can portray our hate. So on that note, going into what we're going to be talking about today, first and foremost, yes, William, I did post a picture, Instagram photo of Ginny. Ginny, while we were gone, Ginny, my dog, she got bit by something while we were gone, and she has all sorts of rashes on her neck and her paw, and really, really droopy. So she has to wear the cone of shame because she keeps licking her open wound. So,
yeah.
But the worst thing about it is she can't really walk with it.
Yeah, she's a kind of an odd-shaped dog. Basset hounds are.
Yes. So
especially her, she's a little on the bigger side.
So she's on the couch and can't move. So I randomly will take it off and watch her, but I could not be yelling at her during the podcast. Yeah. Jenny, no. So.
Oh, you do it in any other podcast?
I know, but she's doing it a lot. And plus she's
carry her up the stairs.
Well, no, I'll take it off of her when I get done, and before I go to sleep, I'll put it back on her. So, but it's just funny to see her like that. So, check out the picture on our Instagram account with Ginny there as we do the introduction, letting you all know that a new episode of Dunner the podcast is on the way. So it's a beautiful night here in Atlanta. It was raining a little bit earlier. We're sorry about not being back for about 2 weeks. We were on vacation. hoping to have a new episode out. Seems like a running theme right now. But once again, podcasters, you can follow us on our social media platforms. Follow us, like us, whatever you're allowed to do on those. You can leave us hateful comments too. Apparently, but I don't plan on going anywhere. But you can listen to us on any podcast listening platform. You can listen to us on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and as well as the Stitcher app. So please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 5-star rating, or whatever rating you want to leave us. But the more follows and subscriptions we get, the more the podcast will grow. So we will keep going on here. So what we're talking about today is actually Big Van Vader. So William and I, we've talked about it before in prior podcasts. We are both, our father is a big wrestling fan, and I did try to get him on here, but I think we're too much of Trump haters to his liking. So he decided not to come on the podcast, which is fine with us. But really, we started watching wrestling in the mid-'90s. Me especially, when Hulk Hogan became a bad guy, he just wrapped me in. And, I've been watching wrestling on and off for a number of years. And, Vader was one of the big strongmen of professional wrestling. And, he was over 450 pounds. He was an ex-NFL lineman. His real name was Leon White. And he passed away a couple days ago. Yes, actually, right? Or was it just yesterday?
Yesterday? I think it might have been just yesterday. Yesterday or a couple days ago by the time the podcast comes out, right?
Yeah. And so, but he was in the hospital for a month. He died of pneumonia, actually. I don't know if you heard about that, William, but he actually told the Twitter, Facebook, social media world that he was going to die of heart failure within 2 years.
Oh, jeez.
So, but that's from years of alcohol abuse and drugs.
I know he was in a coma for a little bit, or maybe several years ago.
Yeah,
his health was not good for probably the last 15 years.
Yeah. So today what we're going to do is a little fun. Is a lot of other wrestling podcasts, if you listen to it, we're going to do a watch along. And what that is William and I are going to watch one of the first time that Vader won the WCW World Heavyweight Championship against Sting at Bash at the Beach 1992.
Oh, it's the Great American Bash. You got it wrong already.
What did I say?
You said Bash at the Beach.
Oh,
are you on the right
shit.
pay-per-view? Oh, might as well just stop recording. We got to start over now.
No, whatever. I can, Carolyn makes fun of me when I do these things, so you're doing the same. So you're right on par with that. So the Great American Bash, Great American Bash 1992. So we're going to watch, in just a moment or so, we're going to start watching it and, talk about Vader and the match and how badly this environment looks, and just make fun of some things. But William, what are some of the memories that you have of Big Van Vader?
Sorry. My first memories of Vader is because I didn't start. I'm sure I watched wrestling when I was really little, but I didn't have a memory of it until I got the Sting Unmasked VHS tape. I got 2 of them for Christmas, and on there he talks a little bit about Vader, and so that's kind of how I learned about him. But I never saw any one of his matches until probably about 2009 when they came out with the Rise and Fall of WCW, and I think it's this match that was on there, and this is actually one of my favorite matches.
Yeah, and it's a great match, and it's the epitome of his and Sting's rivalry. Yeah. I remember it was the very best of Sting. It was a VHS, and I posted that the other day on Instagram. It had the best of Sting from 1990 to 93, and his feud.
Okay.
His feud with
good years.
Yeah, his feud with Vader was predominantly part of the VHS. And I remember I was with my buddy Clint and our friend Julie, and she had it, and I'm like, it was some late night. We were in high school. And we put that in, and it's really the first time that I saw Sting and Vader together, because we didn't have YouTube, and I never was part of the whole passing tapes around thing. And really I didn't watch the full match until it was on YouTube. a decade later, I want to say. So I don't really remember. So those of you who are listening, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the WWE Network, and we are going to start watching. We're going to mute the sound. We already watched the match beforehand with the commentary on there, and Jim Ross sounds like Jim Ross, just younger. Jim Ross is a big smoker, so you can definitely tell the difference. Of course, 20 years.
Bell's palsy.
Yeah, Bell's palsy and 20 years of commentating later on. He sounds like a very young man with
Yes.
Jesse the Body Ventura on there as well. So some good commentary. Jesse Ventura is what it is. Doesn't seem very prepared.
No, I think him and Jim Ross make a good team, though.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job together, and I think Jim Ross on his podcast, I listened to it, the Jim Ross Report. He has fond memories of working with Jesse, and so does Tony Schiavone on his podcast. I listened to those.
Oh yeah.
So the pay-per-view is the 1992 Great American Bash. It's from Albany, Georgia. About 8,000 fans in attendance. And the one thing when I first started watching this, William, that I thought of, I'm like, this shit is poorly lit. It's completely dark, and I don't really think 8,000 people were in that arena.
No, but it does look like it's pretty. I mean, it's hard to tell how full it is because of the dark lighting, but that's kind of how WCW did their lighting a lot. WWF was definitely the opposite in the 90s, where everything was brightly lit so you could see everything. Whether or not they had huge 60,000 seat arenas, or the however big their Raw set was, 1,000 people, but it was very opposite of each other, I guess, is the best way to explain it. The WCW was always really dark around the edges with just a very big spotlight on the ring, and that goes back to even in the 80s, and probably well before that, probably.
Yeah, and I would say WCW didn't really get the better graphic packages and better lighting.
Oh no,
until
they did not have the
mid to late '93, and then when Hulk Hogan came in '94, I don't think anything really. So those of you who are not wrestling fans, this is a time to turn off the podcast or just listen to us bullshit.
Or you can watch the match with us and become wrestling fans.
There you go. So we are at actually 1 hour, 53 minutes and 43 seconds. Is that where you're at, William?
Yes.
So
now when I play,
so
are we doing 1, 2, 3 go, or just 1, 2 and then go? Then we press play.
You tell me, William.
All right, we'll do 1, 2, 3 and then go.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot I had to do it. 1. Oh shit. 1, 2, 3, go.
All right. So they're panning over to the right, and what's interesting about this is I read beforehand, and here comes Vader with his big Vader mask, which was popular in Japan.
Yeah.
And so he's from the Rocky Mountains. So the Rocky Mountains is a big place. So I mean, it's a big dude, but it's like parts unknown with the Ultimate Warrior, right?
Yeah. Or was it Death Valley with The Undertaker?
So it's funny, the heels come out of their own entrance and the baby faces come out on their own entrance.
That's old school.
So
there might be 8,000 fans there. Based on the shot behind Vader, it looks like it's full.
I wonder what the hard camera. Oh, it's full over there too.
Yeah, that's full. Yeah. It's just the lighting. Yeah.
So it's funny to see the early '90s folks and their outfits. It's not like today where you see all these young, presentable people in the front row. It's like 50-year-old woman, 40-year-old woman, larger lady, woman holding baby.
The lady standing right behind Vader with the moo cow jacket on.
Yeah.
She gets pissed at the end that Sting loses. She's like, this is bullshit. He shouldn't lose.
Exactly. So, and then Vader's gimmick with it blew out steam. I mean, what the fuck? That's the only reason he brought that. So here comes Sting, my favorite wrestler of WCW. During this period, before Hogan showed up, I mean, he was the man. And I always found it funny, they didn't ride that wave with him longer as champion. And the funny thing about this, William, this match isn't even the main event.
Nope, it's a like a tag team tournament, right?
Yeah,
that's what I noticed. I didn't know that until I started watching it on the network.
Yeah, but when I was looking at some of the other pay-per-views, like Sting doesn't headline the pay-per-views.
Nope.
So you got the biggest babyface, your best merchandise seller. Obviously, you're going against the biggest heel. I mean, Sting's in great shape, tan, the blonde hair. He's like 33 here. But, it's just crazy that, this is a pretty brutal, stiff match, as they say. So,
Yeah.
And then...
I think usually back in like the 80s and 90s, and still even now, the world title wouldn't go on last usually if the good guy was going to lose, especially if he was champion.
Because they want to send the crowd home happy.
Yep, and then also, I wasn't watching now, so I don't know how important, I think it was a tag team tournament, could be entirely wrong, but I don't know how important that was. I don't know if this was, no, I guess Arn Anderson would have already left by now to go to WWF, so it wasn't like they vacated the titles or anything like that.
No, so Arn Anderson's back. Ric Flair is the one who's gone, actually.
Ric Flair's, that's right, because it's the different world title Ric Flair took the title with.
Yeah, so...
Because they didn't give him his deposit.
Yeah, so the year prior, Ric Flair had a falling out with WCW, and, he took his woo and went to the WWF, and took the belt. That's something else to talk about another time. But you even look at these punches, man. He's fucking hitting them. Like when I was listening to this, you could hear him. And,
you can hear him, yeah.
And so before this, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but they're not completely unsafe because he's usually either hitting him with the side of his hand or his wrist. Unless it's to the body, then he looks like he's punching a little bit harder. But I mean, for the most part. Ooh. He's not punching him straight with his knuckles, but that was a stiff clothesline.
Yeah, and even the commentators are like, he's getting his bell rung here, and this is also, you see, there's no mats on the floor. I mean,
nope.
This is when Bill Watts was in charge. He's a wrestler from Texas. He used to have his own, and it was illegal to jump off the top rope and send someone over the top rope. Yeah, it's just like, what?
You couldn't keep up with it. Unless it was on accident, then it was okay. Then there wasn't a disqualification. And that was more of just the commentary team trying to cover the fact that they clotheslined somebody over the top rope and didn't get disqualified because it's a stupid rule.
Ball grab.
Yeah. I mean, it's a...
So Ron Simmons, look at his Jerry curl.
I was going to say, do you know how soon after Ron Simmons beats Vader for the title? It's got to be within the year.
It's this year. It's Vader. I was reading Vader's Wikipedia, and so he beats him 6 weeks later because Vader had a knee injury.
That's what I thought.
And then Vader beats him a couple months later for the title back. But he lost to Ron Simmons, who became the first African American World Heavyweight Champion. So I mean, that's one of those things. WCW before its time, even though it's Southern Wrestling. So.
Yep. And.
Boom!
I don't think WWF has had.
Where's the disqualification?
Well, it was accidental. He didn't mean to do it over the top rope.
Yeah.
I know Booker T was their World Heavyweight Champion, but I don't think they ever had anybody as the WWE Champion. I know they like to say The Rock, but then they also...
Booker won the title.
Yeah, but that was, like I was saying, that was the World Heavyweight Championship, not the actual WWE title. So it's just... I'm trying to think back, I don't think they've ever had anybody. I think...
Bobby Lashley won the ECW title. Eddie won it. Ray won it.
Eddie and Ray won the WWE title. Yep.
Mark Henry, he won the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah. Oh, that's actually a good question.
Yeah.
So Harley Race was the former 7-time World Heavyweight Champion. He's the manager of Vader. Vader, one thing I always remember about, after watching his matches, he beat you up, the babyface would get over and get those high impact moves, and then he would slow the match down.
Yep.
So, Vader died of pneumonia. But he debuted in 1985 in the AWA. But really, he made his Sting looking to the fans. Should I lock up with him? Vader saying, "Shut the fuck up, you assholes! You redneck pricks!" He made his name for himself in Japan, and Sting's looking at it there. I can't see the fans. Someone turn the lights on.
He's like, who's he waving to?
Yeah.
I like how they do the test of strength, and immediately Vader wins, so Sting just pokes him in the eye. Just like, oh, I'm not wasting any more time.
It's like, I'm scared. This match actually goes 17 minutes, but they've spent like 2 minutes here just stalling.
Yeah, and it works.
Yeah.
It works.
They try to. I mean, the fans are into the match. You know, you see them get going. You know, they slow it down in the middle and they pick it up towards the end, which every good match you see happens.
You're supposed to, yeah.
So before this, in April of '92, Vader and Sting fought, and Vader cracked a couple of Sting's ribs and ruptured his spleen. I don't know if that's a storyline.
I don't.
So he got.
Was that on their Saturday night show?
Yes.
Or was that on a pay-per-view?
Saturday night. Drop kick. Vader slowly goes to the outside, like, "Oh, I'm too fat to be taking these bumps," and a messed up Enziguri.
That was Sting's Enziguri.
Yeah.
That's how it always looked.
Oh.
That's how the original Enziguri looked. Who was it? Of course, now I can't remember the Japanese wrestler that did it, but that's how it originally
was that
looked.
Muda? Ooh. See, that's gotta hurt. You're running full speed, and he just says, "Nope." So another one of their matches, some good Vader matches out there for our wrestling fans. His match with Stan Hansen, and where Stan Hansen actually knocks his eye out.
Knocks his eye out, yeah.
There's actually some video of that on Twitter when people were paying tribute to him, because he's a tough man. He's a really tough man. Sting with some kicks. Lots of a small package on the 450-pound man. Vader to the outside, buying some time.
That's not a disqualification, though. He went through the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
It's fair. He's not disqualified. The match can still go on.
I always felt like watching him with his mask on that he had no nose. Harley, get the fuck out of my way. I'm Harley Race. I'll beat your shit out of you. Randy Anderson with his mullet.
His mullet time. Everybody had a mullet.
Oh.
Except Sting.
I think the WWF stayed away.
The rat tail.
Yeah. Yeah, he had the rat tail like a year before this.
Yep.
You watch the WWF matches around this time. You got Ric Flair fighting the Macho Man, the Ultimate Warrior, in these big arenas, brightly lit. Squash. So,
but they were about to go through some. I mean, it was beginning of the rough periods, because it wasn't soon after this. They had the whole steroid scandal, and then Bret Hart had the title, and then business was going way, way down because Hulk Hogan's act was tired, and Warrior was gone.
Hogan had a resurgence for a little while while he was in WCW, but it lasted, in my opinion, until they made Ric Flair retire.
Yeah, I mean, for like 5 or 6 months, and then it meant nothing. I mean, because even the ratings for Nitro and Raw at that time, they weren't that good. It wasn't until the Hostile Takeover with Nash and Hall that it started getting, I guess the ratings started getting really, really big.
Yeah. So, another good match to watch of Sting and Vader is their bull rope match at Super Bowl III.
Oh, the strap match, yep.
Yeah, the strap match. Sting beats the shit out of him, and Vader's a bloody mess.
I like their 3 main matches. This match, their Starrcade match, and the strap match. I think
the strap match is pretty good. I do like their Slamboree 94 match for the whatever the hell the second world title was called, the international title.
Was that the triangle match or whatever it was called, or is that a different match altogether?
That was different. Because it was supposed to be Rick Rude and Sting, but that was when Sting ended Rude's career by...
Oh, in Japan. Yeah, he's back.
So I would check that out. Vader also had a really great rivalry with Mick Foley, Cactus Jack at the time. They had several good matches. There were actually a Saturday night show where he pretty much bloodies the hell out of Mick Foley, and they had to severely edit that one. But then, of course, there's the one in '94 where they wrestle each other, and Mick Foley loses an ear.
Yep, gets ripped off.
Yeah. So he
in
gets
the ropes.
Yeah, he gets caught in the ropes. Vader. What is he doing?
Scorpion Deathlock.
Big man can't do submission moves.
And this is
Ron
the
Simmons
worst looking Scorpion Deathlocks ever.
I mean, Sting put on some pretty bad Scorpion Deathlocks.
Yeah, but I mean, this one looks pretty bad.
Yeah.
It doesn't take too much longer.
Yeah. Another good a year and a half from this one. Actually, Vader has a great match with Ric Flair.
At Starrcade.
Yeah, Starrcade '93, and Flair put his career on the line again. Yeah, and Vader, he's hitting him pretty full on, and I think Flair said in his books, he's like, "You want this title so bad, you better fucking come get it." And so they were going at each other pretty. They call it throwing potatoes. Vader then, after he lost the title, kind of didn't really do much because Hogan came in, and he pretty much refused to work. Yeah, and he refused to work with him for a while. So I don't know what kind of deal they reached for him because he had Ric Flair lose his strap match, and then they had a DQ finish, and then he finally let Hogan beat him at Bash at the Beach 1995. And really, I remember that the only thing I remember about WCW and Vader and Hogan was that they were on an episode of Baywatch.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so
was Vader the bad guy?
Yeah, I mean, Hogan was on there. Like, Pamela Anderson saves a drowning Hulk Hogan, and Vader is the bad guy, and they try to make the storylines interact on Baywatch. Ric Flair, Kevin Sullivan, it's just stupid. But that's really all I remember.
Did Vader run down the beach in slow motion in his singlet?
He was wearing
with his man boobs flopping?
Yeah, a windbreaker. So, I mean, but, so that was all I remember about him in there. Really what happened to Vader and his WCW, if you watch Nitro, the first couple of Nitros, Vader's in the actual opening. But he got fired after he got in a fight with Paul Orndorff.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently Paul Orndorff laid him out with one punch with his bad arm. So
yep.
Whatever.
I've heard so many different versions of that story, but all of them are the same, that Paul Orndorff punched him. But then stories change about how badly he hurt Vader.
That lady in the Moo outfit. She's like, "Come on, Sting! Come on, Sting!" And then you got a woman over there who has a Superman curl with the baby.
Yep.
Oh my God. I hate the early 90s are terrible.
No, the early 90s is the best. That's the best era of Sting.
Yeah, that's the best era of Sting, but the fans and the outfits are worse.
No, they're fine. Look at them all. They're all happy. They're great. Look at them all. Look how happy they are. They're watching the match.
Jim Ross is shrugging his... Oh, they're into it. And we're getting to the point towards the end where, they left it where Sting still was strong, and it was coming up here in a minute. And really, after Vader left WCW, there's nothing too memorable of what he does. I remember he takes out Gorilla Monsoon, and then he's on an episode of Boy Meets World.
He was on a few episodes of Boy Meets World. That's
what the hell is that?
That's the Kapu kick that Jushin Thunder Liger does.
That is like a modified cannonball that Kevin Owens does.
It's a somersault kick.
DDT.
And to the DDT. That's a good DDT. Yeah. That's great.
Sting, he had always put on good matches. Jenny! No.
Did she take the cone off?
No, I'm about to, so she shuts up. So just talk for a second.
Okay. Besides Boy Meets World and this, the only other thing I know about Vader was just his match in SummerSlam against Shawn Michaels, which was a clusterfuck of a match.
Yeah, it had 3 different finishes.
I think it was 4 different finishes, and all the finishes had Vader win and make Shawn look like the dickhead. And then the other part of the match is when Shawn was supposed to do a flying elbow drop, and Vader was supposed to move. Vader forgot, and so Shawn bailed out in midair and just laying in front of him and said, "Move, you piece of shit." And then that's why Jim Cornette hates Shawn Michaels now.
Yeah, and then there was the stuff where Shawn Michaels pretty much buried his run after that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wasn't going to work. I mean, history shows you can look at anybody else. Here comes a huge Samoan drop, though.
Oh yeah.
What my favorite part though is on the commentaries, like Jim Ross, like, how did he pull off that move? Like, what's he gonna do? It's like the only logical thing, just fall backwards. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Like what could he do?
Look at him. Sings like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm gonna poop my pants.
But there's like, did you have to struggle to fall backwards? You could have fell backwards right away.
But he had to fall backwards the right way.
Oh, I guess, where he doesn't tear his back? I don't know. Oh, Moo Cow's clapping. She likes the Samoan drop.
Oh, yeah, Moo Cow.
I can't tell if she's, like, in her 50s. Like, I don't know what's going on. She's got, like, an old lady next to her, but...
So I like this right here. I mean, granted, Vader has to help do it, but this German suplex is spot on that's coming up.
The spot's great, where
boom!
Sting was
Look
close
at him.
to winning.
Bridge.
Great.
1, 2. Oh! Look at that lady in the Jerry curl yelling.
For all the people that are like, "Oh, Sting never had
a
match outside of Ric Flair," and or they're like, and he never changed his style. It's like no, you've just only seen his Ric Flair matches. Like, you haven't seen his matches with the Great Muta. His matches with Vader
Stinger
are
Splash.
all his best matches. And this is great. What's about to happen is because it for the fans there, because this shit wasn't overdone. It's like, oh, was this not supposed to happen? Like, you can look, they're like, wait, this isn't right. You'll start to see people standing up in the background. They're like, wait a second, something's not, like, is he really hurt? What's going on?
Yeah, and Sting would do this a couple other times in other matches. The one with Bret Hart.
Did he bust himself open? I don't remember that.
Not at the Halloween Havoc one. You couldn't tell he had red fucking face paint.
But I do remember he had that goatee in the Halloween Havoc match.
Yeah, that was dumb.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer white and black Sting with the soul patch, or do you prefer red and black Sting with the goatee? Both are equally terrible.
Yeah.
Both are terrible.
I picked Joker Sting.
Or Sting with the rat tail, because all of them are incredibly dated.
I like Sting from this point in 92 to 96. Early 96.
I like this Sting from like 92 to 94.
Yeah, 94 is good, but I think Sting Hogan puts Sting on the back burner. But
oh my god.
In late 95, like, Sting has even that match he had with Hogan, Sting's putting on a good show. He's like showing people what he's made of, and I think he was, but WCW is a clusterfuck by then. But I think this era here is probably also my favorite match-wise for Sting. Always been a great fan of him. And here comes the master of the power bomb.
He
boom! 1, 2, 3.
It's like, look, Moo Cow's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Oh, does she have a midriff? What the fuck?
That's why I'm like, I don't know how old this lady is. Like, is this Sting's mom? Did he not let her know that it's fake?
This is where I'm like, Vader has no nose.
Yep.
Moo Cow is upset. And I like the fans are like booing with their thumbs down.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
So, I mean,
she is still distraught. She doesn't know what to do with her life.
And then, this kid's holding up a Sting t-shirt in the background. Sting just lost, you dumbass.
Yeah, they're showing their support. Like, if we hold up this sign, he won't lose. Or maybe they're trying to, give their shirt away because Sting's a loser now.
Mm-hmm. Once again, this is not the main event.
Oh.
I wonder if they'll show how badly Sting blades himself here.
He whiffs. He whiffs big time.
Boom! He didn't hit it! But right there, if they kept going, you would have seen him blade.
Yep.
And then this is a pretty stiff powerbomb, too. Boom!
He did get him flat, but I guess it just looked worse from the wide shot.
Yeah. Ball shot.
That frickin' that pin, though, probably jacked him up more than the powerbomb.
Yeah. So, if you guys are...
He wasn't doing DDP yoga.
Yeah.
That was the issue.
Well, actually, Vader started doing DDP yoga towards the end.
Oh, maybe
What
that's
the
what
fuck
happened.
are you wearing, Jesse Ventura?
Ugh, one of Macho Man's outfits.
Yeah, look, there's Nikita Koloff. He comes out to check on Sting, and there's Ron Simmons and Ole Anderson. What the fuck? And then, so did every WCW referee have to have a fucking mustache and a mullet at this time?
Yes.
There's Nick Patrick. He would have a mullet and a mustache later on.
For like the next 20 years.
I know. Nikita Koloff comes out with flip-flops on.
That just shows how serious it is. He was in the shower and he heard that Sting lost, so he came running.
Yeah. You know, Sting's still, he's getting the fans bought in with this ending and everything.
It's great. It's a perfect setup for a rematch. You
Yep.
can't ask for anything more.
Which he doesn't get until Starrcade 92.
Which is, like, what? It's like it's built up perfect. It's
Yeah.
like 5 months later. Or, no, I guess more. Because this was June or July, right? Does it tell me?
Yeah, this is July. So,
So
Sting
that's
had a
perfect.
5 month title reign. He won it at Super Bowl II against Lex Luger,
Which has a really good start to the match, and then, like, after the first 2 minutes, it's just kind of,
because Lex Luger blows up and sucks.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's a great start. Every time I watch that match, I'm like, this match is going to be great. And then then I remember, like, the next 10 minutes, I'm like, this match isn't so great anymore.
Yeah. Pretty much you just watch that snippet of the VHS, and that's how good the match is.
Yeah. That's all you need to see.
So Eric Bischoff with his...
Oh, I've already turned it off, Tommy. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. So he's interviewing him with Harley Race and everything. But anyway, so, another memorable moment. You have to look for this on YouTube where Vader attacks he's in Kuwait for a WWF tour with The Undertaker. And a reporter says, so why is wrestling fake? And he, pretty much accosts him.
Oh, yeah?
Also, there's a great table for three. If you have the WWE Network and have just been listening to us and not watching it, well, there's a table for three with DDP, Vader, and Sting, and they talk about their rivalry in WCW. But really, this is what made me a fan of Sting and Vader. They just had great matches during this time, and they pretty much made each other. And Sting has said that Vader is his best opponent.
Oh, yeah, easily. I mean, Ric Flair's probably the more famous one, but just because they had so many matches, but Sting and Vader, the quality of their matches, and
you believed it. You believed that they were beating the shit out of each other.
It was like the original when Brock Lesnar came back from UFC in 2012. Like, all of his matches with John Cena just reminded me of, like, modern versions of the match we just watched.
Yeah. So, just saying, I think Vader had it, early from his, early 90s to 96. Well, that's really where I stopped following him. Did you watch? I mean, he was on WWF for a while after that, but I think he just poor booking and they just gave up on him.
Yeah, after the Shawn Michaels thing, and then they had him call himself a fat piece of shit on live television. Pretty much sealed the deal for Vader's run in WWF, but I didn't start watching WWF until 2001 for the Invasion angle, because I watched WCW, and even then, I really didn't start having, memories or, watching the actual matches and remembering them, the next week, until, 1998, 1999 is when I started to form memories of wrestling. So, and he was not on WCW in those years. So, besides Boy Meets World and the Sting Unmasked tape, I'd never seen anything of him until, 2008.
Yeah. And, he was a 3-time WCW champion, a 3-time IWGP, whatever the hell that was called. But New Japan Pro Wrestling, he was the heavyweight champion there. And he was a U.S. champion in WCW. Mm-hmm. So, Vader, a great big man, a strong style wrestler. You believe what he was doing. And he would, hit the moonsault every once in a while and the Vader bomb off the top rope. And so, I'm still have this on and watching Mullet Referee and, Anyway, you see half the fans left after the Sting match.
They probably thought it was the main event.
Exactly. So, but Vader holds his place with wrestling fans, and he did show up on. I remember he did show up on like Raw 1000 or something like that, and he fought Heath Slater, and it was cool to see him show up out of nowhere. So, but I always enjoy it. But William, this was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for having me.
So we'll have to do this again sometime before one of these wrestlers dies.
Yes, hopefully.
But
I had a good time. I've been waiting for the next episode of the podcast to come out so I could listen to it. Then I got the text message that I got to be part of it, so that brightened up my day when I got that message.
Oh, it's the Steiner brothers.
Yep.
So it's just one of those things that I'm happy that you filled in for Carolyn, because it still is done and doneer.
Yep.
But other than that, we will be back hopefully here soon. We're going to actually record tomorrow night, so we'll have our next episode out on time on Wednesday. But William, great having you. Once again, fans, podcasters, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, the Stitcher app. Subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating, share with your friends, help us grow the podcast. But William, pleasure having you, brother.
Tommy, thanks for having me, brother.
What you gonna do? That's it for us this week. I'm Tom.
I'm Will.
Hey, Will. And we're done. Bye.
Bye.